I'm Charlotte.
Hi, I'm James.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
We are currently answering question number 4. How do we use new media technologies in the construction, research and planning stages, including the evaluation? And I think we should start with the camera. We used
A HD camera,
yeah.
which is the pixels of 1080i, so it could fit on a widescreen TV. We used it because it gave a good picture quality.
I think the camera that you use really does make the difference because, for instance, using one of the SD cameras, the effects that you can do while filming as opposed to doing in editing later on is just completely different, which then brings us to our next point, which is Adobe Premiere Elements, which is new to all three of us, as last year we were all in very different groups and we used Max and iMovie, and so this year using Premiere Elements, that was just completely different. That was a whole new experience.
It was quite hard to get your head around at first because you're like, where is everything now, and this is here and that's there, compared to the Mac, which is quite easy and straightforward to just cut.
I think once you get used to using Premiere Elements though, it was actually much more straightforward, and also the advantages for using Premiere Elements are so much greater than using the Macs anyway. For example, if you were to cut into a clip, you can cut irrationally and work out where you actually want the cut to be in the end, and you can kind of move things around. You can zoom really closely into the clip to get it really, really precise. And that was really handy for us anyway when we were doing all of the editing, I think particularly with the photo shoot.
With Premiere Elements it was also easier to import the files because we didn't need to transfer them onto a external memory and transfer them between the PCs and the Macs, which I think sped everything up.
It's quite good as well because Premiere Elements, you can just open a file and you can see all the clips that you ever actually put on Premiere Elements, and they're still there, they're still full. All you need to do is just drag them and put them on there.
And that moves us on to print work. We used Photoshop when creating the newspaper advert, as we decided to go with a crack effect for Katie Hughes' face to kind of show, it was kind of not to show that her character is breaking down or degrading or anything like that, it was more just to kind of show the idea that she is it's almost picture perfect, but it's so close
to break.
And it really is just kind of make or break. And for a newspaper advert, I thought that was quite a good idea to use because that just means it's more eye-catching. But yeah, it was good that we could put the photo from Photoshop, compress it down to JPEG, and then put it onto, say, Photo Plus to do some additional changes, and then move it finally onto Page Plus. So we've kind of combined Adobe and Surrey packages, so...
Yeah, these are the Page Plus and Photo Plus software discs. I think they worked well, especially because of the features you had within them, and being able to link them all together allowed us to move the images between them very easily.
So yeah, I found Photo Plus and Page Plus, obviously they're new software as well, and that was quite different to use because I suppose if we're really used to using Photoshop, it's quite hard to kind of get out of that habit. And also, to be honest, I don't think it made a huge difference just using both of them rather than opposed to just one, because it means with Photoshop not that there are certain things you can and can't do with either, I think it's more just the fact that it's ease of use and it's the speed at which you can do things. And I think with Photo Plus it's really, really clear to adjust all the lighting, to adjust all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas with Photoshop, I suppose you're just so used to it, you can do it so quickly, so it's a combination of speed and the features that are easily available, I suppose. So combining the two, I think, really worked well for us. And then lastly, we used iTunes.
We used iTunes to get the background music, Blondie's, one way or another. We decided it fitted well with the photo shoot at the beginning due to its pace and the type of music it is. We used two cameras for it. We used Buffy's Nikon and a Fujifilm Finepix S2500. Camera use does definitely affect what it looks like. I think using the HD camera, it did provide that element of professionalism and a better quality for our final project. For our project, we carried out a large amount of research using different media technologies. The first one we used was YouTube.com. This allowed us to save the videos we'd used for research.
Yeah, modelling videos as well. We got some videos from MTV of models.
Good for inspiration.
Cribs and stuff like that,
which allowed us every time we changed location, whether it be in the classroom or at home, we could still find those video clips very easily without having to search through the entire website. I think also it allowed us to make our video more professional because we could see what shots were actually used in the genre of our documentary, which meant we weren't just making up what shots we thought we'd use. We actually saw what professionals used and we could work around that. Obviously we did change certain shots because of our personal preference of shooting.
And then we also used NMA UK, which is a website. It's got all the newspaper adverts on there, and it's got the most up-to-date, it's got the conventional newspaper adverts, and then it's got the most contemporary ones also.
I think it did help with us to choose the correct shape for the...
It was
It was
good
good to see like
yeah.
different kind of like shapes that you can go for, and then we all just like discussed on like one side shape, the shape that we all agreed on.
I think if we hadn't have had it, we would have ended up doing, changing it each time, or even not producing an advert that fitted in with newspaper we were going to use.
Yeah, I think it was working out what works best for us, and we're not doing a documentary that is really completely different, so we wouldn't need one to reflect in that case, but to at least experiment was definitely worthwhile, I think. Even if we did just kind of end up going for the conventional kind of boxed shape layout, but I think that was probably the best one for us.
I also fitted in with the topic of it to show her boxed in. We used Vimeo to upload our drafts of the project so that we can embed them into our WordPress file. Vimeo allowed us to insert bigger files.
Compress it down.
We also use Vimeo to do some kind of research because our college has got like a Vimeo
account,
and it's got videos from past year 13 classes, 82 classes, and they've got their stuff on there. So we did a little bit of research and we watched a couple of those and to see their kind of documentary styles and stuff like that.
Now on to planning.
We used PowerPoint for our pitch and for the slideshare stuff.
So what we did was we came up with the storyboard, and then I scanned that in, so we just putting it onto a slideshow on Microsoft PowerPoint, but that's kind of equally as effective. I mean, it's not as ideal, but it is that's perfectly
I think
okay as well.
the display of it on the WordPress site looks good as well.
So that was good, so we could then upload the PowerPoint onto slideshare.com, and then we could we can embed a link from there into WordPress again, and that automatically comes up as the file. So SlideShare has been really helpful. Also with our pitch, we put the pitch on a PowerPoint to show our class.
We also used Facebook. I created a Facebook group which we all signed into, which allowed us just to, if we wanted to make a post that we didn't want to put initially onto WordPress, we could just make it there and sort of have a look at it before it went up.
But then also it was good just to kind of share ideas, to communicate with each other without doing it over text, because if you do it with text it's really hard because you can only text 2 people at one time, as if you're on Facebook you can go on chat together, but chat is also like a two-way conversation as well. But with having it as a profile means that it's an open thing, so that the 3 of us can just go on there, we can all bounce ideas around and bounce ideas off each other, and that's kind of what's been really useful for us too. So I think the key things for planning were the phone apps, undoubtedly the Twitter updates and all of that kind of thing. Evaluation.
At the minute we're at my house. This is the first time we've sat down and evaluated our project in terms of all its different media technologies.
It's different being in a group as well when you're evaluating, because obviously as we're talking we can kind of still bounce ideas off each other, which is good, and it's like a continuous
Because when you're doing like your individual evaluation, you kind of have to think the things that you did, and you're just like,
it's group orientated, and to be honest, we've got a good group. We've had our differences, we've had different views, but then I think we're all like generally creative people. It's the new media technology that we're currently using is we're using a camera. Again, this isn't HD, but it is still a very handy. It's a handy cam by Sony.
We're also using a Sony tripod.
And what we're going to do for this as well, for the evaluation, is we're going to use Movie Plus by Serif, which is the same as the Photo Plus and the Page Plus. It's all like a Serif package, and we're going to use that as well. So whereas we've usually been editing with Premiere Elements by Adobe, we're going to try Movie Plus and see what kind of features we can get out of that, and then we could almost, I suppose, compare the two and kind of decide which one is the best one. We have been Charlotte,
James,
and Elizabeth.
Project Katie Hughes, Make or Break.